the objectives, the intentions of leaders are generally always, at the time, they're making the best decision they can. So in Vietnam, the intentions of the Americans were good. The intentions of our country when we went into Afghanistan were good intentions. They weren't evil. They might have been, in my book, unwise or ineffective or less than the best, but at the time, they were still, our leaders thought this was the best course of action. In Iraq, the same way. And so it's always easy to go back and look in the past, and we have in Vietnam, and we will in these wars, and ask ourselves, did we do this right? Was this the way that we should have done it? Was this effective? What can we learn? And hopefully we'll learn a lot of lessons. But one of the lessons that our current president, President Biden, has stated is that the United States is not going to be involved in nation building. We're not going to be the policeman of the world and try to root out necessarily bad actors, or that we've got to support the people of these countries and allow them to build their own nations, for good and for bad. And that's something that I've always believed in as well. So I believe that we've learned some lessons. We're stepping back. I support the president in withdrawing from Afghanistan. I believe that was the right thing to do. And I wish it would have been done much earlier, many years ago. But nevertheless, it is done now. And we're out of Iraq as well. And so I support that. And of course, there's lots of criticism of the president. We live my country is very divided politically now, as you know, and divisive, even on the question of COVID and getting vaccines and wearing masks. There's such divisiveness, and politicians are using it as a political weapon and attacking each side. So, but there's no way to withdraw from a war in a good way. There's always going to be terrible things that happen. And 13 Americans were killed, another 100 Afghans, in addition to the tens of thousands that already lost their life. So it was messy, but I believe the decision was correct, that we needed to withdraw. Allow the Taliban and the Afghani people to build their own country. Yes, it is. Certainly the injuries of war are terrible, and they're not always seen. They're invisible injuries as well. So the cost to all sides of a war are incalculable. They're far more than just a body count or numbers of people injured. It's devastating. War is just devastating. And so I believe that a country or a nation or a group of people should use every other means available to solve a problem, and war should be the absolute last resort as a defensive measure. So some will say, well, our war in Iraq and Afghanistan was defensive. We're trying to root out terrorism. Well, I believe we could have taken the same trillions of dollars and put it into building better systems of detecting terrorism in our own country, and building infrastructure and helping children be educated, get a good education, and all Americans getting health care rather than just some. I think that would have done much more to build our country, a strong United States that is resistant to terrorism, than fighting these wars.